Hello, my name is Verity McIntosh. Ooh, that's my microphone. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about immersive arts, but very much inspired by the business of felt and lived experience. I just want to acknowledge how long some of you have been sitting really quietly and in a very still way, and that your felt experience might be quite stiff and quite annoyed by now, especially as I'm standing between you and your lunch. So for the next 34 seconds, I would like to invite you, if you would like, to do whatever your body wants to do. So if you want to stand or stretch or make weird noises, I'm going to cover you for 34 seconds. Here we go. Do it. Feeling better? Awesome. I continue that permission to be noisy and movie for the entire chat. I won't be offended. I'll find it comforting. I'm Verity McIntosh. I'm here to chat with you a little bit about an incredible project that's supported by AHRC and several others that I'll introduce in a moment. Its name is Immersive Arts. Quick sort of show of wiggling. Has anybody heard of this already? Yeah, hi friends. It's also called Celf the Diamdra Hall because we are a bilingual program, thank you. And so everything that we do is equally available and encouraged in both English and Welsh language and also in British Sign Language. The program itself, what is it? It's effectively a 3-year program. It's a £6 million scheme that has been designed to support artists wherever they are in the UK. So we're based in Scotland, we're based in Wales, we're based in Northern Ireland, and we're based in England, and we welcome artists from across the UK. The theme today was creative cities, and in a way we're probably the ones that have the least kind of resonance with that question, because for us it's not just about cities as hubs, it's about artists' practice and the kind of the potential for artists to connect with immersive technologies wherever they are. And we've had some of our most wonderful events and meetings so far in kind of small towns in North Wales and in the foothills of the Highlands. So yeah, it's not about cities this time. It's about us as the UK being able to connect to each other outside of the kind of the regional and cluster-based model, and to think about what a UK network might look like. So in that time, we're going to be supporting over 200 artists to connect in a number of different ways. I'll just briefly step through with you. That's effectively sort of research, training and events, and the all-important access to funding. So we have £3.6 million that we can offer directly to artists in that time. Who we are? We're a sort of big consortium of the willing. I'm based at the University of West of England. Our acronym is UE Bristol. And we're the PI and the lead institution. Our lead hub is the Pervasive Media Studio, which is an extraordinary kind of arts tech research space in Bristol, run by Watershed, who are also the English partner and the exec producer for the scheme. You don't have to take notes, it's okay, I won't test you. We work really closely with our academic partners at University of Bristol on the research side of this project. And we have what we call producing partners in each of the 4 nations of the UK. So we are sort of deeply embedded in creative communities and working with cultural partners who have over time developed really strong values-led trust relationships with creative communities. So in Scotland, that's Cryptic. In Northern Ireland, that's the Nerve Centre. In Wales, that's the Wales Millennium Centre. And in England, that's Watershed. We also have partners who bring really specific kind of sector and sort of change-making expertise to the party. So Crossover Labs, who are experts in immersive media training and talent development, are working with us on a number of different ways across the scheme. Unlimited, I think many of you have worked with in this room, are an extraordinary disabled-led arts organisation that champion artists and audiences from disabled communities. And we're working with XRDI, which is XR Diversity. Oh, how to unacronym XR? It's like a mathematical X that covers all the R's, so VR, AR, XR, MR, all the R's. So XR Diversity Initiative are incredible at kind of lowering those barriers to entrance for marginalised communities who've been historically cut out of the arts in general, but certainly when technology is involved, those barriers are often understood to be higher. So they're fantastic experts at knowing how we can creates inclusive and accessible opportunities through programs like this and elsewhere. And we work a lot with the Innovate UK Immersive Tech Network, who are just streets ahead in understanding what the sector is and what it needs. So it's a right old community who have kind of come together around this common aim of kind of trying to create some connectivity in the sector, create a sort of a summoning space where people can find themselves and find each other and develop their thinking, develop their ideas, and create something of a movement here in the UK. We are very fortunate and quite unique, I think, in the funders that we get to work with. So we are hosted today by the Arts Humanities Research Council. I'm delighted to be working within that portfolio. But unique to this programme, we're also working with the 4 grant funding agencies across the UK. So that's Arts Council England, Arts Council of Northern Ireland, the Arts Council of Wales, and Creative Scotland. And historically, they haven't worked together in this way. So we really appreciate that they're taking a bit of a kind of a risk, a gamble, and an experiment with us to see what happens if we try and sort of pool resource and create something that isn't about the country that you're in, but that's more about the community that you can connect to kind of expand what we can all do together. We know that the terms that we use are quite slippery. If we did a little, we're not going to because I realised lunch, but if I did a little straw poll to try and work out what everybody in this room thinks immersive means, we would have, I mean, how many of us are there? We would have that many different definitions. So we're not here to be the immersive police. We don't want to sort of decide what it means and then stick some edges around it. But we recognise that for this programme, it's really important that we say what it means in this context so that the people working with us have a way in and have a way to kind of decide if it's worth the investment of their time to come and play. So in this case, and this case only, immersive arts means art that uses technology to actively involve the audience. This is art, technology, active audience. And those are the sort of 3 things that combine to what we're particularly interested in for this programme. In sort of more detail, I guess that means that we're interested in the use of things like virtual and augmented and extended reality, in the creation of artworks that potentially bridge between physical and digital spaces, that create connection, that maybe engage multiple senses. So we see these as sort of enabling technologies for the creative expression that we see that is really extraordinary within the UK scene. One of the things that I think is really core and central to everything that we do is a belief, a sort of an understanding or an opportunity that we see in this exact moment in time. There are many media and art form who have kind of 100-years-long legacies about how things are done and what it has to be. Immersive arts as a sort of an emerging discipline doesn't necessarily have that much sort of orthodoxy about what it is, who it's for, and how it works. And so there's a really rare window to sort of describe a sector together in a way that feels like it's kind of important and a great moment not to miss. There's a sort of an inheritance of difficulty and marginalisation and prejudice and exclusivity that we can try and choose not to inherit from history and from previous sectors. It's a sort of a naive hope, but it is true, I think, that everything that happens now sort of has an outsized impact on what happens next, because it's the thin end of the wedge, and everyone who's included now becomes a kind of an advocate for everyone who comes after them. So the more we're able to kind of create a very diverse community of people who are making very diverse work for very different audiences, the audiences now are the artists of the next generation. What you see now is what you want to respond to and create. And so it feels incredibly important that a scheme like this, that has a limited amount of time and resource to actually invest in the sector, is really centering this question of what kind of proactive equity, diversity, and inclusion means to what the sector then gets to become. And I think the UK is uniquely positioned to do this differently and to create some sectoral change. So it shows up all over the programme. Hopefully, if you've had a chance to engage with it, it's kind of shown up for you in different ways. Some of the ways that it's showing up at the moment, we have an open call for funding at the moment. It closes on Monday, so maybe if this is the first thing you've heard about this, it might not be your job for the rest of the weekend. It will run again multiple times. But in the application process, for example, we've been working with those amazing partners to think about why people hate application processes, what the barriers are, what makes people kind of go, this is not a thing for me, and to try and just kind of systematically take that apart. So our application system is about as kind of lightweight and thin as we can get it. It's also available in multiple formats and languages, and you can submit your application as a form, but you can also do it as a voice note or a video, and we're finding that people are really taking that invitation and submitting their ideas in the way that best suits them. It comes back to what Emma was saying about trying to meet people where they are and think about what is going to feel like this is for me, this is me now. It also shows up in the kind of artists that we're hoping to commission. We have quite strong commitments to seeing if we can support work in a way that mirrors the rich diversity of the population that we're living within. So we're particularly attentive to questions of gender, ethnicity and disability, where we know that there's underrepresentation within the arts, and that underrepresentation tends to be worse when technology is involved. So we're going to be looking really carefully about, are we reaching people that are kind of going to represent the beautiful population that we live within, or are we kind of leaning into some of those kind of first mover advantages? And it shows up across the programme. So we're really keen to be challenged on this. So if you ever spot us doing something that you think is a swing and a miss, we would like to learn, please. The ways that the programme is rolling out, mostly kind of 3 ways. So we run training and events around the UK and elsewhere. So we've just recently kind of had a series of inspiration days, which have been designed particularly for artists who have an established creative practice, but may not have had much opportunity to kind of experiment or get hands-on or kind of find out about immersive technologies. So we've been doing lots of kind of workshops and lots of case studies and examples, and lots of opportunities to kind of get in a headset or have a play or kind of do some first ideas development with new and old friends. That's been kind of geared towards people who are very much new entrants. We're also developing a number of different kind of training and mentoring offers for people who are mid-career and more advanced in this space and have already been working with immersive technologies in different ways. And we'll be having an annual event that we'll be inviting you all to as soon as we get our dates confirmed. But that will be sort of towards the early middle of next year, so do watch out for us. We're hoping to kind of find ways of bringing that community together and allowing for some of that serendipity that we know is possible when you have a coffee out there in a minute. We are a research programme, as you might expect from an Arts and Humanities Research Council funded project. There are lots of different ways in which our research kind of runs through the programme, and I won't be too tedious, hopefully. But just to let you know, there's sort of 3 main themes. I see you, time's up. There's 3 main themes. We're interested in kind of what artists want to do with these tools and technologies. Are their expectations being met? Are they plausible? Are there challenges that they have to the tools and technologies? Artists often ask the best questions of technology. So do they have issues around kind of data and privacy, about corporate monopoly? Do they have challenges about the practicalities, the accessibility of the tools? And what is the kind of infrastructure and ecosystem that perhaps is a little nascent, is a word that was used earlier, that will need to grow? And how do we kind of support a flourishing infrastructure that will support artists to connect with audiences and artists around the world? And then the all-important funding. So, as mentioned, we have 3 tiers of funding that we make available to artists as grants. The £5,000 Explore grant is intended to support people who just need some sort of time and capacity to develop their thinking, to make new connections, to try stuff out, to kind of get off the blocks really and sort of figure out what this means for their practice. Experiment is more of which is £20,000, is more about kind of first prototype, proof of concept. You've got a really specific idea, you kind of know something about it, but not everything about it. So it allows you to kind of get something to that proof of concept stage. And then Expand is a £50,000 grant, which is much more intended for things that have already had a bit of a starting point. You've got to proof of concept. You need that follow-on funding to get it over the line. So we're trying to, as mentioned many times today, we're trying to meet people where they are and create capacity for them that's going to really suit the stage of development that they're at, and that draws on the kind of the support and the expertise of the network to kind of create works that connect to each other and that develop sort of cultures of expression and audience within the sector. You can keep an eye on us through lots of different channels. We have website, we have email, we have various different socials. We're not on Blue Sky. Maybe tell me if we should be on Blue Sky. Everyone seems to be there this week. I know. All right, fine, we'll get on Blue Sky. We're also threatening to have a Discord server, which I'm thoughts. I see you, time's up. All right, I'll stop rambling. Thank you ever so much for spending time with me today, and thank you to AHRC and to all of our funders for continuing to support this kind of ambitious work. We hope it makes a difference. We're really excited about what comes next, and I'll be really happy to chat to anyone in the break. Have a lovely lunch.